Hi, I'm Kristi Davis, MetroTex Forms and Contracts. Today I have Charles Kramer joining us, the co-chair of the Broker Lawyer Committee, of Counsel for Republic Title, and a practicing attorney to discuss tips and tricks on the TREC revised contracts that will be mandatory as of April 1, 2021. Thanks again, Charles, for joining us today on our revised contract tips. So, smart homes, smart devices. We didn't have anything in our contracts before. So, you want to talk about how the Broker Lawyer Committee has added this into our new revised forms?
Sure. So there's actually two places of change to look at for brokers and agents. One is in paragraph 2C, which is paragraph 2 is where the property is described and it's broken down into little pieces. The property that's being bought and sold is a certain piece of land, paragraph A, certain improvements, bricks and sticks that sit on that property, fixtures, for example. And paragraph C is what we call accessories. Those are things that are considered part of the house and which get sold and delivered to the buyer, but may not be real estate. The classic example would be door keys or garage door openers. That's personal property, but that obviously goes to the buyer every time. So there can be certain smart devices that are part of the real estate that may not be fixtures or attached to the real estate. They may be, in fact, accessories. So one of the things we included is security systems that are not fixtures. So you might have maybe a nanny cam or some other camera up in the house, and the problem that was occurring is that you display these things as they're marketed with the property. The buyer sees the property, they tour it, they expect that that security system, which is for the house, would go to the house, and then suddenly the day before on the walkthrough, it's gone, and the seller has reserved it. So we made a choice and a decision that if it is a security system that is not a fixture, and I guess, and I'm not clear on how a Ring doorbell is installed or a Nest, that may be permanent, it may not be, but either way, whether it's a fixture or a non-fixture, it's going to go with the property. What that means, sellers and listing agents, is that if you've got a security system that your seller loves and wants to take with them to the next house, you need to use paragraph 2D, exclusions, and exclude it. Because if you don't exclude it, it belongs to the buyer under this contract. So that's the first point I want to make.
And that also needs to be added into MLS, that
Correct.
It's included.
But remember, this is a problem we've seen many times. The exclusion is listed in MLS, but doesn't make its way into the contract. And people try and bail out on that, going, well, it was MLS, they knew. And the answer legally is, well, but that's not what they legally agreed to in the contract. So even if I knew about it, I changed my deal in our contract. And it's really gotta pay attention to paragraph 2D. Is there anything they're taking with them? The other thing we see in paragraph 2C that's new is this definition of controls. So think of garage door openers as being a control that goes with the property. Think of any kind of automatic device that opens a magnificent gate, an automatic gate. That's going to have a remote of some sort. That's going to go with the property. But we've now defined it to say that it includes sellers' rights to software and applications used to access and control improvements or accessories, blah, 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 and hardware used solely to control that stuff. So what I want everyone to think about would be, imagine a very sophisticated lighting system that is controlled by computer, and you're given an iPad-like device. It's not an iPad, but it's some sort of remote control that lets you switch on certain lights, give them different lumens or intensities. It's just this amazing proprietary system that is remote controlled. That device, if it is used solely to control the lights, so not an iPad, not your iPhone, would go with the house, would be transferred to the buyer. And so that new language is intended to cover more modern devices than just the garage door opener, the keys, the blinds, the ceiling fan remotes, those kinds of things. Other remotes of any kind, because our houses are getting smarter and smarter. They're really cool, and you're given these little special remotes for lights or for sound or for stereo systems, things that might be built in. The next thing is in paragraph 10C. Paragraph 10 is the possession paragraph. You'll deliver possession at closing, and then we had a little paragraph on leases. We got smart devices, and so what we do in this paragraph is we basically say, and let's use the example of a TV. a smart TV, one of those big, beautiful LG or whatever brand, giant TV with all the widgets in it. So you've seen those, and you can go get YouTube or you can get Hulu, and it's all built in. And let's say that as part of the sale of the property, the seller is selling the TV to the buyer. That is a smart TV. This contract now requires the seller to do a little bit of delivery of information. At the time they deliver possession of the property, and I really think that could be read to mean the day before in the walkthrough, seller shall deliver to buyer written information containing all access codes, usernames, passwords, and applications that buyer will need to access, operate, manage, and control the smart device. You may go, wait, I got to give them my password? No, because the very next sentence says, and the seller will terminate and remove all access and connections to the improvements and accessories from any of seller's personal devices, including phones and computers. So what does that mean? You can't just hand a smart TV over to a buyer and say, well, figure it out. You're going to have to give them some sort of written information. Maybe it's an owner's manual and you go over it with them. Maybe it is an app that you show them where to get it and they download. And then the key thing is you have to remove your password and connection from that device. There have been amazing stories and incidents where the smart TV is delivered to the buyer, and the buyer finds out that for the following 6 months after closing, the seller was using the buyer was using the seller's old YouTube or Netflix account to watch the TV. So we're trying to cut that off at closing and say, get your own account, get your own password. You've got the great TV with the smart devices, and I've got a duty to deliver information to you, but then I have to strip all my passwords and information out of it.
I love this addition of the smart devices. One, it's defined, which we didn't have that in our previous version of the contract, as well as then it tells the buyer and the seller what they have to do in regards. It's really clear. I love it. And I don't know if you've said it, but I'm sure you have. If you'll just read within the four corners, it tells you everything you need to know.
Tells you what to do. You're right.
And it's our responsibility as members, as listing agents, as buyer's agents, to inform our clients as to what these changes look like, what it is in their responsibility to do. And again, although we can't give legal advice, we can explain these written documents.
And recognize who your buyers and sellers are. So if your buyer is, let's say, my 30-year-old daughter, who is very tech savvy and laughs at me, she's going to need less instruction. She's going to go, oh, I know this, I got this. If your buyer is my mother or father who's 80, they're going to need a lot more attention and time going, you need to get out your iPad. We're going to need to download this app. And you may need a little help from the other agent, and the other agent needs to recognize that. And there is some minimal contractual duty for the seller or the listing agent to help you with that. So I think this will ease the problems. And let me tell you, the better you are at getting this information in the hands prior to closing, the less phone calls and emails you will get of help me after closing, which you always want out the window.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for the tips and the information about the revised contract on smart devices.
You're so welcome.
And thank you for joining us. Please make sure to check out our YouTube channel for more contract tips and tricks and other videos to assist you in your business.